Hey everybody! Alright, so I've been saying for a few weeks now that I was going to do a video showing how we set up our ring light and the backdrop that we got to use as a background. And so we got it last week. I've had to order in some extra pieces, and so I finally was able to use it this last week and actually list some of the stuff that I took pictures for. And so this week, as I'm doing my next photo session, now that I've had a chance to try out our setup and list with it, I'm going to go ahead and show you what we have going on, how we have it set up, how we use it. So hopefully it'll help some of you guys, and you can kind of make some decisions about how you want to set up your whole lighting setup. So basically, you know, this is not definitely like, I'm not an expert on this. I'm not like a professional photographer. I'm sure there are better ways to do this. And certainly if money is no object, then I'm sure there's better setups that you could put hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into the ultimate photography studio. But if you're like me, you need to be able to do this on a budget. So this is how we have it set up. One of the things I tell other sellers is it's really important to kind of get your photography set up, dial in so that you can do as little editing as possible. I know a lot of you spend time editing your photos after you take them, and it really eats up a lot of time. And so if you can put the time and some resources, a little bit of money into getting kind of the ideal photo situation for the space that you have, so that you don't have to edit any photos after you take them, you can just immediately upload them to your listings, it's gonna save you tons and tons of time. And seriously guys, I know even if you're just starting out, time is money. Even if you're spending 2 hours a week editing photos, those 2 hours could be spent listing more items, getting more stuff in front of buyers, so hopefully you're selling more stuff and making more money. So it's super, super important. When I started out, the first photo setup, first photo kit I got, it was one of those sets that has the umbrella lights where you get 2 umbrellas and then like a little middle light thing. I don't know what the official words are for them. Sue me. Anyway, and that kit cost me, about $50, and that worked really well for me. I've been using it for almost the past 3 years. It worked well enough. I was using it down in my basement back in Oregon. All I had was a white sheet hanging on the wall, and then I used that lighting kit, and let me tell you, it worked just fine. I took really good pictures with it. A lot of it has to do with your camera and how you have your camera set up and making sure you have it on the right settings. So seriously, like the link to that particular kit is down below, and it was like 50 bucks. So if you really don't have a lot of money to spend, and that's like the bare minimum that you can spare, like go ahead and pick one of those up, because it'll seriously up your game. It'll make your pictures look a lot better. When I moved here to Vegas, Vikki already had kind of like a curtain deal set up, and I'm going to show you kind of what it was before, but she had like these white curtains in her photo area, and that worked well enough, and so that's what we've been using for the last year. And so we finally decided we wanted to upgrade a little bit, and so what I did is I decided to try, I really wanted to have a background that I could pull down, because if you go and look on like Amazon or eBay, like all the photography backgrounds are ones that are on stands, and so it's like there'll be like a pole here, and then at the bottom of each one there's the stand that sticks out, and you know what, that all adds up to taking up a lot of space, and it's the smaller space you have, the harder it is to use something like that. And it just, you know, even when you're not using it, unless you're gonna break it down and put it away completely every time you have a photo session, which is just a pain, it's gonna be taking up a lot of space in your house. And so I really wanted a screen that I could pull down, but it doesn't seem like there are any, or at least I couldn't find any. And so I thought, well, what if I use a projection screen? You know, obviously they have tons of those, people who like to project movies onto the wall, stuff like that. And so I went on Amazon, I found one. I ended up getting like a really big one, and they're pretty inexpensive. The one I got was $59.99, and that one's down below. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work well for what, you know, for taking pictures on it. It's slightly reflective. I just wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out. But let me tell you, it definitely, it works great. 60 bucks, great investment. I'm able to like just install it into the ceiling. You can pull it down when you use it, put it back up when you're not using it. So that worked great. And then we finally got a ring light. And so I'm just gonna show you what it is that we have, and I'll show you how it's set up. And ultimately, there's a link down below that goes to a picture album, and I'm actually gonna have, there will be pictures of from listings that I've taken before with the old setup. And so, you know, they're decent because I was using, you know, the right settings on my camera. But you'll see there's a big difference between those pictures and the pictures I can take now with this new setup. So go ahead and click on that link below when you're done watching this video, and you can go and look and see the difference in the pictures and what everything looks like. All right, so let me show you the setup. All right, so I already have the ring light turned on right now. I don't have any other light in here. This is, you know, this doubles as a living space. And so this is actually like our sliding glass door back here. And then we have these dark gray curtains. And there used to be a second set of curtains that went across here that were white. And so we would have the white ones closed when we were taking pictures of stuff. And then if we wanted to take pictures of light colored things against a darker background, we would just open up those white ones and have this dark gray background. And then we had like the umbrella lights set up over here. And so now I have this pull down projection screen. Now again, the one I got's really big. I wanted to make sure if we ever wanted to photograph large items that we would have plenty of space and there'd be plenty of white behind it, but you could definitely go with something smaller. You don't need it to be this big, but even this big one, I think it's 120 inches diagonally, and I have it, it's a square ratio. This big, it was only 60 bucks. And so basically you just pull it down. I'll show you, it's a little loud, but it just pulls down. I'm gonna back up so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, it's just a big, huge white screen. And you can see it pretty much covers almost the entire sliding glass door. And you can see the ring light right there. So now I pull that down, I've got this smooth white background. Now, the key with taking pictures, if you just now started out, is that you wanna have daylight bulbs. And so if you've ever noticed people who take pictures outside, or take pictures in a room that has like lots of great natural lighting, those pictures look really good. If you've ever been like outside hanging out and you want to take a selfie, have you ever noticed that when it's like really bright sunshiny day, those are like the best pictures that you take? So really when you're taking these pictures, you want to have daylight bulbs. That's what gets you the best detail, and it's going to make it the most accurate as far as like color and details and stuff like that. Now it doesn't have to be like nighttime, it doesn't have to be pitch black. You can see, you know, we've got natural light coming in right now. There's light coming in down the floor. It doesn't have to be like completely blacked out. There's light coming in over here, just as long as it's not artificial light, because that'll kind of pollute your lighting setup. And so, like I said, I just have this ring light. This is an 18-inch ring light. We got it, I think it was $70, and that was to get it without like too many of the extras. And actually what you really want to make sure that the one you get comes with these filters on them. It's kind of like a diffuser. And so I actually had to order these separate afterwards. And so the link you'll see down below is actually for the whole kit, which I think is like about 100 bucks. But you could get the one for 70 and then just order this white filter for another like 12 bucks. So it just depends on what you need. But I found that just having this light, this single light by itself without any extra umbrella lights, does the trick just fine as far as taking pictures of clothing. And so again, I'm going to show you how I do this, but basically I take the pictures right through the ring light. But I'm going to go ahead and get this set up on here, and I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like on my camera and how I set this up. So I actually use a hanging half mannequin. This works really well for men's clothing. Vikki has standing mannequins, different kinds, full mannequins, but I just use the hanging half one. This works just fine for t-shirts, jackets, sweatshirts, sweaters, stuff like that. With this setup, I had to kind of rig up a thing to hang down, so that hangs down from the ceiling. So you're gonna have to figure out something of that sort, depending on where you install yours or what kind of mannequin you use. So this is what I do. It's just hanging right here. It's super easy to just take and flip around, and I make sure I have it kind of where it does kind of come in contact with the screen, because that helps it from kind of rotating while you're trying to take pictures. But this works really, really well for me. And again, I can just flip it around like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I take these pictures. Now when I take my pictures, I'm actually using my phone, which is just a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. the camera, I used the camera that came with it. Let me go ahead and open that up. This is just the native camera that came on the phone. It's pretty much the same camera that was on my S7, so I'm sure it's the same one that's on the S8 and the regular S9. Now right now it's just, as you can see, the reflection of the ring light. I'm actually taking this through the ring light. I have my vlogging camera mounted on it, but right now I just have it on auto. And if you can see, like, I don't know if you can totally see this through the video, but when you have it on the auto, it kind of comes back with a yellowish hue. And so really the key to taking really good pictures is not only to have good lighting, but to also have your camera settings right. So I'm actually going to put this in the pro setting right here, and it's going to make a big difference. And now the biggest thing here is going to be the white balance. So you can see the white balance I have right here. Now this particular light is 5500K. So you can see here, you can adjust it, and if you have it on 5500 to match with your lighting source, that should be the correct white balance. And then beyond that, it's really about having the right brightness. So when you're taking a picture of something that is really dark, you're actually going to have to darken the brightness on here. And so on this particular app, you can see right here where it says -6. I don't know how well you can see it, but I click on that and I can either brighten it or I can darken it. And you're going to have to do this depending on how dark or light the fabric is of the thing you're taking pictures of. So with something dark, again, I have to take it down darker. And so this is just a little trick. For one thing, you want to make sure that you have your camera set to 1:1 ratio like I do. I like having the grid lines in there. It helps me to make sure I'm getting the picture in the right spot. But if you go ahead and you just take a test picture as it is, so I take like a couple test pictures, and then I'll go and I'll open this up. And I can actually see what I do. This is a little trick I use, is I look at the white of the background here and I kind of compare it to the white on this right here. And I can see it's just a little bit brighter here, and I want to get it a little bit closer. Now once you kind of get used to doing this, you'll be a lot faster at it. But I'll take it down one. It was on -6. I'm going to go down to -7. And I'll just darken it up a little bit. But you can see that it's taking really nice pictures. Let me go ahead and look at that. And that's a little bit better. And look at that picture. Now it just takes like an awesome picture. Now like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have these pictures. You can just click on the link down below and you'll be able to go and look at the album that I have set up, and it's going to show pictures from our old backdrop and using our old lighting system, and you can compare them to the newer ones. But this is just a really crisp, perfectly even, consistent white background, and it just really makes the article that you're taking pictures of pop. And I think it's definitely a huge step up. All right, that's the end of my little introduction tutorial to our light setup and how I actually take the pictures. Bottom line, if you just want to go kind of the bare minimum and save some space, like I said, we got the pull down screen for $60. And then the ring light is going to run you probably about $90, depending on how many of the kind of add-ons you want to it. Really, you just need the ring light on its stand, and then that white filter or diffuser. It really helps with shadows, and if you're taking pictures of like especially hard goods that might have some reflection, it kind of helps with some of the light reflection on that. So that's ultimately what you need. And so between the two of those, for like basically about $150, you can have this set up. It takes great pictures, and it's really easy to put away because you just pop that screen right up, and then all you have is that one ring light, and it's really easy to just kind of slide it out of the way. It's not going to take up a lot of space, as much space as like the umbrella lights do. And then again, when it comes to your camera, settings on your phone, it all comes down to put it on a pro setting. You just got to have that K number where it says 5500K, some, you know, depending on what exactly the bulbs are that you have, but these ring lights, they're at 5500. So you just set your white balance to 5500. and then you can adjust your brightness to lighter or darker, because you just really want to have consistency between photos. You want to make sure you're giving an accurate representation of color. You don't want your blacks to be super bright and blown out and looking like they're gray, and you don't want your whites to be super dark. So you got to make sure you're making those adjustments. And once you kind of get that figured out, those two things, that's the white balance and then the brightness, once you get those two things figured out, you're going to be able to have a lot more control over the way that your pictures look. And you're going to see, like, even in my before pictures where I'm using a different background and different lighting system, they're still pretty good pictures because I was using the pro setting on my camera and making those adjustments. So it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to cost you like 150 bucks, like I said, to get you dialed in, and that's not too bad. So go ahead. The links to everything I'm talking about are down below. They are affiliate links, so if you do buy them directly from those links on Amazon, you know, we'll get like a little percentage. But of course, you don't have to get the exact same thing. That's just what we're suggesting. And so go ahead, check it out. Check the links down below to look at the pictures of what everything looks like and see for yourself if you want to upgrade to this. Thanks, guys. See you later.